This is a resolution proclaiming February 23rd through March 1st, 2025 as Peace Corps Week in the County of San Luis Obispo. Whereas the Peace Corps was established by President John F. Kennedy by executive order on March 1st, 1961, with a mission to promote world peace and friendship by fulfilling three goals: to help the people of interested countries in meeting their need for trained men and women, to help promote a better understanding of Americans on the part of the peoples served, and to help promote a better understanding of other peoples on the part of Americans. And whereas the Peace Corps partners with communities abroad to develop sustainable solutions for the world's most pressing challenges, and its volunteers carry out people-to-people public service and citizen diplomacy at the grassroots level, addressing challenges in agriculture, community economic development, education, environment, health, and youth development across the globe. And whereas Peace Corps volunteers return home as global citizens with unique cross-cultural perspectives, as well as leadership, language, teaching, and community development skills that provide value in today's global economy. And whereas today, 6 decades after its founding, with over 240,000 Americans having served as Peace Corps volunteers in 142 countries, the Peace Corps remains committed to its ideals, and its volunteers leave a legacy in the lives and communities of the people they reach, educate, and inspire. And whereas the Central Coast of California has a long and solid history of producing Peace Corps volunteers, and San Luis Obispo County has a growing presence of returned Peace Corps volunteers with an active regional Peace Corps association. And whereas Peace Corps Week is an annual event commemorating President Kennedy's establishment of the Peace Corps on March 1st, 1961, celebrating all the ways that the Peace Corps makes a difference at home and abroad, while renewing the agency's commitment to service. Now, therefore, be it resolved and ordered that the Board of Supervisors of the County of San Luis Obispo, State of California, does hereby proclaim February 23rd through March 1st, 2025 as Peace Corps Week in the County of San Luis Obispo. And in doing so, the County Board of Supervisors commends the Central Coast returned Peace Corps volunteers for their roles in advancing the Peace Corps mission locally and in San Luis Obispo County. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you do.
Good morning, Chairperson Ortiz-Legg and County of San Luis Obispo Board of Supervisors. My name is Kirsten Anderson, and I have been a resident of SLO County off and on since 2004, when I moved here to attend Cal Poly, and fortunately have called the Central Coast home now consistently since 2019. The area is arguably one of the most beautiful places I've ever lived. From the coastlines to the creeks, our green hills soon to be filled with wildflowers, to the rich agricultural valleys and the diverse backgrounds and perspectives of fellow community members. Thank you for your dedication to protecting and preserving what your constituents value. Today, I'm honored to represent a special community here on the Central Coast as both a board member of our local Peace Corps Association chapter and as a returned Peace Corps volunteer, having served in the Eastern Caribbean from 2011 to 2013. It wasn't all hammocks and rainbows. More on that in a minute. Thank you for proclaiming February 23rd through March 1st, 2025 as National Peace Corps Week, recognized and celebrated worldwide for the impact that Peace Corps volunteers have made and continue to make in lives around the world. The Peace Corps is a United States government program that was established by executive order on March 1st, 1961 by President John F. Kennedy. It represents soft power efforts to promote world peace through community-based development and building relationships in mainly rural pockets of our world to boost cross-cultural understanding. Peace Corps service makes our nation stronger, safer, and more prosperous as volunteers return home after 27 months of service abroad, changed forever, with refined leadership skills and an expanded reverence for how powerful relationship building can be as a catalyst for positive change when projects are implemented with genuine community engagement and respect for local cultures. In host countries, counterparts and colleagues become lifelong friends, and seeds, both literally and figuratively, planted during service grow strongly rooted to benefit generations to come. Since 1961, over 240,000 Americans have served in 142 countries, and today, just over 2,600 volunteers are deployed in 60 countries. Most volunteers' projects revolve around education, health, economic development, agriculture, environment, or youth development. This year's annual Peace Corps Week theme is Tales of Transformation. Each volunteer's experience is unique. Days can fluctuate from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, hopefully more of the former. Each experience, though, provides an opportunity for reflection and growth, perspective and patience, and humility. Endless opportunities for practicing humility and learning how to laugh at yourself, whether you're holding class under a mango tree in Mali while a donkey sniffs your backpack, or riding a boda or a motorcycle back to your village in the cool Ugandan countryside. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to briefly highlight 7 returned Peace Corps volunteers of SLO County's tales of transformation, many of whom are still leading lives of service as volunteers with local organizations or in civil service, finding meaning in everyday conversations with exploring what's possible when passion and hard work are core to who you are. We'll start with Peter Schwartz, a current Cal Poly physics and sustainability professor who served in Fiji from 1987 to 1989, teaching math and science. The top picture is of his friend USA, spelled USA, then in the 1980s, and again with Peter in 2023, grown up when Peter went back to visit his country of service with his grown daughter. Next, we see SLO resident Aiden, who served in the Federated States of Micronesia from 1999 to 2001 in public health. He shared this picture of himself and his extended family with whom he lived in Chuk. Tina Chiuk taught science in a Ghanaian secondary school during her service in the West African country from 2003 to 2005. Today, she is an associate professor at Cal Poly. At the age of 27, Nick Jeffrey left the country for the first time in 2008 to land in Kampala, Uganda, known as the breadbasket of Africa, for its rich and nutrient-dense soils and the most delicious pineapples one could ever imagine. Along with other volunteers, he received training from the Peace Corps on how to advance knowledge of AIDS and preventing HIV infections through working with youth under the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR. After leaving the capital, Nick's rural experience in the South involved friendly people, a warm equatorial climate, and endless bananas. He used sports, mainly football, as a means to connect and build lasting relationships with his host family and fellow villagers. Nick lives in San Luis Obispo and still dreams of his life transformed along the Nile River. Bernice Saint-Jean is originally from New Orleans and served as a Peace Corps volunteer in Morocco from 2012 to 2014, working in the small village of Ouled Moussa Mbarak as a youth development volunteer. She taught English to local youth, led women's empowerment classes, and secured a grant to help a women's association launch a bakery in their village. Now she lives in Cayucas with her husband, Ryan, also a former Morocco Peace Corps volunteer, and their 3-year-old son, embracing a life shaped by service and community. Sarah Robinson is a rare volunteer breed that extended her 27-month service commitment into a 3rd year as an agricultural and sustainability food security volunteer in Nicaragua, Central America from 2011 to 2014. Her service touched a range of Peace Corps sectors from community development to health, to youth development and education. She created a grade school pen pal project with her aunt's 4th grade class here in Lompoc and created a neighborhood banking model to support community members' interest in saving money and accessing small loans. Before obtaining his Bachelor of Science in Nutrition from Cal Poly, Garrett Morris served for 4 years in Nepal, focusing on food security. Finally, there's me. After graduate school in 2011, I landed in the Eastern Caribbean, one of the first host regions established in the 60s. Our group had its orientation on the hub island of St. Lucia, and then smaller subgroups of volunteers moved to their new Windward Island homes in the West Indies. I served from 2011 to 2013 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, on the mainland of St. Vincent, a mere 16 miles by 9 miles long by 9 miles wide, with dense tropical forests and black sand beaches, an active volcano that erupted 8 years after I left, and world-class sailing through the chain of islands called the Grenadines, stretching south towards Grenada. As beautiful as it was, I always tell people that we were there for a reason. I was an institution/NGO development volunteer, helping to establish the nation's first registered animal welfare nonprofit organization in collaboration with citizens turned friends. Our work was powerful and purposeful, transformative, and produced plenty of partnership opportunities on the grassroots and ministerial levels. One day could hold a primary school activity teaching kiddos about responsibility and empathy in the morning, a lunch talk at a local Rotary Club seeking donations with my counterpart, then picking up a community pup for critical medical care, and an afternoon meeting with the Ministry of Health's office petitioning for temporary licensure for visiting veterinarians to support, at the time, the one private full-time vet in the entire country, which included the 37 miles of southern sprinkled Grenadine Islands. I'm happy to report that since changed with our work for the better. There were also daily thunderstorms, seasons of tropical cyclones, and threats of hurricanes after the cruise ships left port. Days were full and sometimes incredibly hard for our team and I, but they were among the richest and most fulfilling times of my life as we helped get resources to people doing their best with what they had in a life full of hard decisions for their family, their animals, and their livestock. The work improved community and environmental health and brought in compassion and was a lesson in perseverance and pausing to meet people where they were. My experience as a Peace Corps volunteer was transformative, and not a day passes without it coming to mind. Our 2 former Vincentian street dogs, now grayed and arthritic, curled by my side each night make it easy to remember. By proclaiming February 23rd through March 1st as Peace Corps Week in the County of San Luis Obispo, you celebrate the positive changes that individuals in San Luis Obispo County have co-created through the power of worldwide human connection. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bring it back to the board. Supervisor Gibson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Peace Corps is a wonderful creation now, some 60-plus years old, changing not only the world around us, but the people who participate. And it's interesting piece of information that the individual who holds Peace Corps volunteer card number 1 is a longtime San Luis Obispo resident. One Jake Feldman, who taught architectural engineering and actually engineered a house. I met him over 30 years ago. And I bring that up both for the interest, but also for the fact that it profoundly affected Jake. He was proud to show me a photograph of John F. Kennedy handing him volunteer card number 1, and then he spent a couple years in Tanzania, if I remember his story correctly. So we have a remarkable local connection, and I know a number of other Peace Corps volunteers who are currently county supervisors elsewhere in the state, and they speak richly and fondly of their experiences, the hardest work they ever loved.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Supervisor Prashant.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for all you do. I mean, it's not easy to be able to leave this country for years and do this activity and help people in communities that sometimes they don't know anything about until they get there. So incredible program, and really appreciate the effort.
Yeah, thank you. Supervisor Paulding.
Thank you, Chair. I want to also extend my appreciation to Kirsten for being here and the work that you do and all the volunteers. And also just underscore, looking at this resolution, that it was a U.S. president, John F. Kennedy, by executive order, that established this organization to promote world peace and to broaden what we do in the world to have positive impact. And it's refreshing to remember that as Americans, the America that I was raised in, we cared about people around the world. We cared about doing good, tackling crises, that we are humanitarians fundamentally as Americans. And just want to kind of highlight that, because I don't want us to forget as we see what's happening nationally with the current political climate. Thank you.
And thank you. I would just add that Peace Corps has impacted so many people that I know because of my my international degree, and I ended up with a lot of folks that had done Peace Corps and when they're in their 20s and they weren't sure what they wanted, and it really is a wonderful resource because even though you give a lot, and it is a big challenge to go and sleep in places that are not your comfort of your home, you really take more away than you bring in a sense. And so I'm really happy that you brought this to us, and to remind people of looking out for the others, and also just expanding the horizons of our very small world and how we're all interconnected. So thank you so much.